Overman Warrior Podcast.
Hi, Rich Hoffman here. The bizarre behavior of Democrats regarding the Strait of Hormuz incident and how they are cheerleading on terrorism to be able to stop the flow of oil through that strait after the successful bombing campaign of the Trump administration against Iranian targets to essentially take out their infrastructure and essentially turn the country back over to the people to get rid of a hostile Marxist regime that's attached to China and many other dangerous places in the world. It was the right thing to do. All the leadership has been removed. There's no leadership structure at all that has not been eliminated. And yet the American media, obviously we left-leaning to a dangerous degree, they're cheerleading on hope that the terrorist elements that's left in Iran can stop shipping from taking oil through the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz is just off the United Arab Emirates. Across the Persian Gulf is Iran. It's an area that gets a lot of attention for being in the Middle East, but it's a little outside the holy zone that everybody knows so much about. So the Strait of Hormuz is this little area between the UAE and Iran that's about 21 miles wide at its most narrow point. Quite a long distance. I mean, it's difficult for ships to hide in the vastness of a sea from terrorists because 21 miles isn't that long, but it's enough that you can't throw a rock across and hit the other side. It's still a pretty wide gap. And the American media is cheerleading on terrorists to be able to stop shipping because the goal all along, and you get this with all the climate lunatics, the goal among the American left is they're never going to be on the right side with the rest of America. A lot of Democrats, Trump being one of them. Trump was a Democrat. Fetterman is now, be much more MAGA than he was. He's a Democrat that's leaning towards Trump these days. You've got Joe Rogan, who was a Democrat, leaning in the right direction, converting to Christ these days. A lot of the people on the left, again, I point out Trump was on the left. Elon Musk was on the left, still is, but was very much on the left. You have a lot, Kennedy. There's a lot of people who have on the media have converted over and become conservative or calling themselves Republicans these days. So the party movement has not moved Republicans going to the left and joining the Democrat Party. You have Democrats who are defecting and coming to the conservative party. That is the trend. That is where America is. That's where America's going. Trump won because a lot of people who were Democrats, union workers, workers in general, labor people who used to vote Democrat all the time, they have moved. The centers either moved to them or they moved to the center. However you want to say it. The GOP Big Ten has expanded. Now, I've always been a conservative. I've always been on the Republican side of things. As a fetus, I was a conservative person. So it's always a little anxious to accommodate all these new characters, these people who've said, I think this sounds logical to me. I'm going to change my viewpoint a little bit and join this party. So it's the Republican Party that's growing. So the Democrats have been stripped away of all their nice mass, the moderates who used to kind of give them a ground cover. So all those people moved to the the right and to the Republican Party, leaving these radicals left exposed. And now they're in the media. And now they're out there cheerleading for these terrorist attacks. They're either rooting for mass murders in the United States, Islamic radicalism to attack Christian symbols, or pillage society in ways that 9/11 certainly intended to. And you see it in all these acts of violence everywhere. And the media is actually cheerleading it on. You have people like the Chuck Schumers of the world who are willing perfectly. They wanted the TSA. They wanted to have government plugged into security at airports. And then now they want to fund it. You want to have those people work for nothing, because the goal is, from the left, Marxism, shut down the American economy, hurt Trump's economy at all costs, shut down air travel, shut down oil, bring everything to a net zero, where you're not burning any fossil fuels and everybody's living around a campfire with some tribal leader holding a flashlight, and that's your existence, and that's what they want, and that's what they stand for, and that's what these people who are against the Iranian attack to take out the hostile Marxist regime is all about. This anti-Trump movement, and that's why they're rooting for terrorist activity in the Strait of Hormuz to stop the flow of oil, raise up gas prices, get people, punish people, hurt capitalism. And everybody that's out there cheerleading that along are in on it. And they no longer have the polite cover they used to have, which is polite society would say, let's just all get together and hold hands and talk about ideas. And Republicans have their ideas, Democrats have their ideas, and we're going to work together to solve some problems. No, what you're seeing are radical exchanges of fundamental differences of how civilization should be structured. And Democrats do not have a philosophy that holds up to that vision. And so people who realize that are jumping off the ship, and the Republican Party is getting much larger, and they're coming over, and with Trump makes it easy to open the door to that big tent, bring them in. People like me might be a little weary of all these new characters that are in the tent all of a sudden, because I kind of like the tent being a little smaller, with people in it that I agree with more. I don't necessarily care for the opinions of all the people that are coming into it. But as a party, it has grown. It's better. It's bigger, and it is definitely the movement of the country of the United States. If you're looking for common ground, you'll find it there. The defectors of the Democrat Party moving towards Trump. Again, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, John Fetterman, people that we might have thought were disgusting as when they were running, that they were Marxist socialists, and they've come around to thinking right about things. Under the pressure of representative government, they've altered their opinions, and that's left behind these radicals for us to see for the obvious destructive elements that they are. And that is definitely the case with the successful campaign of bombing Iran into a state where they have absolutely nothing they can do about it. They're not going to be able to stop oil from going through the Straits of Hormuz. Anybody speculating to try and say there's going to be hostility and boots on the ground war, and it's going to be another Iraq war, so that justifies prices of barrels of oil going up, and that it's going to hurt gas prices, and they're going to stay in the $3.50 range forever. No, they're going to come down. They're going to be around $2. Going to go under $2, not too distant future. All this speculation is just a bunch of card sharks that are looking to profit off of some anger and the demise of a situation that once everybody put bets on, and that's it's being taken, and those bets are being taken off the table as we speak, and the world's going to change forever. And Iran has been removed as a hostile threat in the region, and oil is going to flow very smooth. And the terrorist elements that are running around, their little speedboats or little bass boats, where they go fishing 1 second and they go try to run themselves into a American battleship the next. Those aren't viable military threats, and they're not going to be hard to control. But to hear the media out there rooting for the demise of all things that mean progress, and even Chuck Schumer to continue to talk about the shutdown in a way that They don't want to pay the TSA because they hope that it shuts the airlines down, so it shuts down the American economy and hurts Trump's presidency. And they don't care who they hurt in the process. And that's the kind of people we're dealing with. And that's when you remove away all the politeness of their efforts, all the Democrats that might have presented themselves in a moderate way to present ideas, they are abandoning the party and moving towards Trump and the Republican Party, the big tent in general. And that's not going to go the other way in the next 2 years, or the next 4 years, the next 6 years. This is a human evolution. And as you remove more threats of Marxism around the world, you're going to find more people coming to that place. That's certainly the story in every part of the world where you're seeing similar Trump movements occurring, whether it's Italy, whether it's Brazil, Argentina, Mexico is going to be drifting in that direction as the cartels lose power there. The pressures in Canada are certainly happening. The pressures all over Europe. All those old powers are coming undone because the people that gave the radical elements a good cover story are leaving and hiding, taking out of hiding the people that were always blowing on the embers of war and disenfranchisement to cause trouble wherever they could. The George Soros and his little boy Alex Soros, always out there trying to just cause trouble because they don't like society. They want to overthrow any kind of organized approach to self-rule, so they can rule with their, like a traditional power broker that had all the money and earned the right to be the king over a lot of people. And the immature relationship that those people have with the world is being exposed by Trump removing all these hostile threats. And that's certainly the case in the Strait of Hormuz. And anybody that's worried about oil flowing through there, don't worry. It's not going to be a problem. It is not the issue that they're trying to make it out on the news. And it is ironic that they are so adamant to cheerlead on the terrorists against America. But I would say we always knew who they were. I think it's good that more people are figuring it out. More than ever, the bad side of all those communist, Marxist, socialists that coexisted with us in our society are now being exposed for what they always were. And that's because they're not blending in with people who gave them a cover story. And that's not happening any longer. And it's not happening with this Iranian conflict. I wouldn't call it a war because they don't have any leadership left. And they certainly can't organize a closing of the Straits of Hormuz. They don't have an infrastructure that allows that to happen. And that the media would give them the illusion that is the case is preposterous. And tells you how audacious they always were and what they've been willing to lie about in those past times, and how they're trying to play the same game now, but no one's listening. And they've been exposed for the phonies that they really are. So Straits of Hormuz are not going to be controlled by Iran. America's taken over the region in justified ways, and oil will flow, the economy will flourish, and people like Chuck Schumer who want to continue to have shutdowns and not pay TSA, they're being exposed for the antagonizers of the economy that they always were, because they want Marxism. They want to destroy growth. They are not on Team America at all. And the people that do want to be part of Team America have defected their party and have joined under a much broader tent of the Republican Party, led by Trump. And it's been a great thing to see, and that's the way the future's headed. And the Straits of Hormuz will stay open, and oil will flow, and gas will go down big time, because that's what we want, that's what we need, and that's what we're going to get. Anyway, it's Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you haven't read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you'll love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.
Thank you for listening.